Hey guys, Solid here and welcome back to another episode of Adventure News, and today we're talking Ducati, specifically the Desert X. Yes, we haven't heard about that bike for a very long time. If you remember, it was first revealed in 2019 and then we've pretty much heard absolutely nothing about the bike. A whole lot has changed in the world since then, so we've got some new specifications as well as a reveal date for the pre-production model. So very exciting news. So let's roll that intro and get into all the juicy details. So what were the original specifications of the concept Desert X? Well, it was based heavily off the 1100 Scrambler, and when I mean heavily, it was basically the 1100 Scrambler with a pretty dress on it. Same engine, same chassis, same suspension. It really was just a very good looking Scrambler 1100. That was enough to get people excited, including myself, as the looks were amazing. The impression that it gave all of us was that this was basically a retro classic, leaning slightly more towards the adventure bike world than the 1100 Scrambler, given that it was based off the Scrambler. So everyone thought that this was firmly in the retro classic segment. Now, the new specifications really have changed where Ducati are heading with this Desert X. No longer do I think that this is going to be a bike firmly pitched as a retro classic. These changes really do signify that Ducati have moved this Desert X from basically a fully fed Scrambler to a proper adventure bike with retro styling. It seems like this might just be semantics here, but this really is an important differentiation. So let's get into the major changes here. There's a few very important changes that Ducati have revealed. The first is it's an all-new chassis. So that means they've thrown out the Scrambler chassis completely and started a complete redesign of this bike. This is a great sign because it means if they're really intending this to be a proper adventure bike, they can start from scratch, making it dirt worthy and handle both on and off-road characteristics. And it also means that they can build everything around it to suit it perfectly. This is really encouraging, and it shows that Ducati are really putting a lot of effort into this bike, as it's no small feat to completely redesign a chassis for a motorcycle. The other big news is they are sticking with a 21-inch front wheel. Now, why is that big news? Well, ask yourself. Enduro bikes, MX bikes, dual sports, anything that is absolutely fantastic off-road, what sized wheel does it have on the front of the bike? The answer is a 21-inch wheel. Why? It's just the best suited for an off-road purpose. Its large circumference means that it can roll over terrain far easier than a small diameter tire, which will get caught in ruts. They've signaled here that they're using a 21-inch front wheel, which is low-key saying this is going to be a proper off-road bike, or at least we intend for this to at least be a competent off-road adventure bike. So the third big thing is the change in engine that Ducati have gone with. They've ditched the 1100 Scrambler's L-twin air-cooled motor, and they've gone for the 950 multi-strata motor. So that's a 930cc L-twin, but this is liquid cooled. This is significant for a few reasons. One is weight. The 937cc L-twin liquid cooled motor out of the multi-strata is lighter, so it means that Ducati are paying attention to keeping the weight down on this bike, which, as we all know, is massively important for off-road. And I don't think it's a stretch of imagination for most people to want a lighter bike when the riding gets difficult off-roads. The other big thing is this is another clear departure from going from a retro classic fully fared Scrambler type bike to a proper adventure bike. This motor out of the 950 multi-strata is far more capable as an adventure bike. That is long distance touring. It's got far more power, almost 30 horsepower more, and it also makes more torque as well, which is nice, but it does make it higher up in the rev range. So maybe we'll be sacrificing some low-end grunt here. Otherwise, we'll get a much smoother, better experience for long distance travel. That extra power will help take a pillion easier in all your luggage, and that extra power will also make it competitive in the middleweight adventure bike segment. And it's low-key, Ducati has just inserted the Desert X as possibly going to be the best looking middleweight adventure bike that we've seen in a very, very long time. That's why I'm so excited about it. They've managed to pull off this complete pivot whilst keeping the original design here. The Ducati Desert X to me looks fantastic. So with its new motor, its new chassis, and keeping that 21-inch front wheel, it is looking quite positive. Is there a date to see more of this motorcycle? The answer is yes. Ducati have said December 9th is when they reveal the new pre-production version of this Ducati Desert X. This will be different from the concept because that was a complete concept bike. So we will see the bike with its new chassis and its new motor, and we'll be able to get a better sense of what this bike is about, I think. Very exciting news. Keep that in your minds, December 9th. The final question I wanted to ask is, will people buy it though? As we know in the off-road world, a lot of the time, all our bikes are fairly utilitarian. That is, aesthetics is a second thought to functionality. And here we have with the Desert X, they're offering not only functionality, but also aesthetics as well. So it's an interesting proposition to see whether people will really pony up not only for the Ducati tax of that premium brand, but whether they're willing to get a really nice looking bike and risk ruining it off-road. So it will be a very interesting question. I think it will probably do fine, as most people will buy this bike to do light off-road duties as well as riding around as a commuter and a weekend warrior. So I think this bike has a very bright future. It probably won't sell in the huge numbers that the Tenere 700 and KTMs do, but I'm certainly sure it will carve out its niche. Let me know your comments down below. Are you excited for this bike? Are you bored that it's just another middleweight? Or do you just not trust Italian bikes off-road at all, which I can't blame you for given the history. But whatever way you cut it, it is an interesting motorcycle. It's bringing in fresh ideas to the market. So that I am thankful about, and I am looking forward to more information on December 9th. And until then, don't forget to stay shiny side up, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you later, guys.